This isn't just another video about AI, it's about power and the quiet empire being built beneath your attention. Stay until the end, because by the time you finish this, you'll see the entire system differently. You'll understand how algorithms replaced kings, and how those who understand attention now rule the modern world. So take a breath and listen closely. What you're about to hear might change how you see everything you interact with online. They say the empires of the past ruled with armies, but this one rules with algorithms. It doesn't conquer land, it colonizes your attention. It doesn't ask for loyalty, it measures it. And the citizens of this empire, they're not born into it, they're trained. One click at a time. The old elite built palaces. The new elite builds systems. They don't need walls or armies. They own the infrastructure of thought. They own the platforms that decide what you see, what you desire, and even what you think you've chosen freely. This is not science fiction. This is the algorithmic age, and your attention is the currency that fuels it. We used to pay for things with money. Now we pay with time, focus, and data. Every scroll is a transaction. Every like is a signal. Every second you look at something feeds the machine more information about you than your closest friend could describe. And someone is monetizing that in real time. The truth is, you are productive, even when you think you're doing nothing, especially when you think you're doing nothing. That's how the invisible empire expands. Not by force, but by fascination. It doesn't need you to believe in it. It just needs you to stay connected. Because the longer you stay, the more predictable you become. And the more predictable you become, the more valuable you are. If you're still here, it means you're one of the few who notice the system, while everyone else is lost in it. Subscribe to Financial Imperialism, because this channel decodes the hidden architecture of wealth, AI, and power every week. Let's continue. The new aristocracy understands this. They don't fight for visibility, they engineer it. They build systems that harvest attention instead of chasing it. They don't scroll, they own the platforms that others scroll on. They don't post for validation, they create feedback loops that generate wealth. In their world, virality is not luck, it's leverage. We were told the internet would democratize opportunity. It didn't. It just decentralized control. Now the gatekeepers are invisible, automated, and infinitely scalable. The ones who understand how attention works, how algorithms think, become the new nobility. They don't wear crowns. They wear silence. They don't announce their power. They design the architecture behind yours. AI has become the perfect servant, obedient, tireless, and increasingly omniscient. But like all great servants in history, it eventually decides who it will truly serve. And the answer is simple. It serves the ones who feed it, train it, and guide its incentives. In this sense, AI doesn't replace humanity. It amplifies the hierarchy that already existed, those who command attention and those who give it away. The system doesn't need to control you directly. It just needs to shape what you notice. Once it can guide your attention, it doesn't have to limit your freedom. It can simply pre-program your desires. And when desire is predictable, commerce becomes automatic. You'll think you're choosing, but you're really performing the role the system optimized you for. The invisible empire thrives on this illusion that the average person is free. Free to scroll, free to choose, free to speak. But freedom without sovereignty is just participation. True sovereignty is measured not by how much you can do, but by how little you can be manipulated. If this resonates, share it. Not for views, but because awareness compounds. The more people who understand the empire, the less it controls them. Let's finish this. The new aristocracy understands this. They guard their attention like capital. They invest it carefully in ideas, in tools, in people who compound value. They understand that focus is power and that in a distracted society, the focused become kings. They know that wealth is not built by effort alone, but by positioning yourself where effort multiplies. The empire of the future isn't made of nations, it's made of networks. Influence no longer flows through borders. It flows through systems of trust, algorithms of credibility, and ecosystems of data. The few who can read those patterns, or create them, become the architects of civilization 2.0. Everyone else becomes the content that trains them. That's the irony of the AI revolution. It promised equality, but it delivered hierarchy, faster, quieter, and smarter than ever before. The machine doesn't discriminate, it just optimizes, and in doing so, it separates the thinkers from the consumers, the builders from the entertained. Not by title, not by education, but by awareness. So what does it mean to be free in this invisible empire? It means noticing the architecture of your own attention. It means asking, who profits from my focus? Who benefits from my distraction? And most importantly, who owns the narrative I'm participating in? Because whoever owns the narrative owns the mind. And whoever owns the mind owns the market. This is why the richest people in the world no longer sell products. They sell worlds. They sell frameworks of perception that others willingly live inside. They sell meaning at scale. The invisible empire doesn't need to rule you. It just needs you to play your role voluntarily. The citizens are self-managed, their habits self-reinforcing. The empire rewards convenience, and convenience rewards obedience. But every system has a weakness, and this one's weakness is awareness. Once you see the architecture, it can't control you the same way. Once you realize that every choice was suggested, you begin to choose differently. Once you understand that attention is currency, you stop spending it on things that don't pay you back. You begin to build your own systems, your own leverage, your own empire, invisible to most but sovereign in essence. And that's the future most people won't notice until it's too late. The age of algorithms won't be remembered for its technology. It'll be remembered for its psychology, for how it turned attention into capital and capital into control. The invisible empire isn't coming, it's already here. The question is no longer who rules the world. It's what do you pay attention to while they do. Follow Financial Imperialism, where we expose the systems shaping wealth, power, and the psychology behind them. Don't just survive the algorithmic age, learn to rule quietly within it.